In a conference held by Pan-African Parliament in South Africa, under the theme of legal reparations, the guest speaker, Her Excellency Dr. Dlamini Zuma, who was the former African Union chairperson, spoke about in length about the theme, but also specifically about Burkina Faso. And in there were some things that she talked about. She gave an example of the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, how that meant, how that has a profound, effect on Africans in doing things by themselves and to beneficiate their own people. Okay, now this conference was about legal reparations, justice for Africa and people of African descent. There were different guests from the African Union itself, civil society, from the diaspora, youth leaders, academics. Now, here is what she said. She spoke about, of course, about youth agency, education, women empowerment, and others. And one of them was also decolonizing our own education, our own mind, decolonizing the mind. And this is where it comes. Okay, and then I'm going to give you my reflection on that.
We have everything that everyone who has developed used to develop. The only thing is, must decolonize our minds.
Yes.
And not think, I lived in...
On that note, I want to tell you that, the most oppressive weapon that the colonizer has is our own decolonized mind, our colonized mind. That was said by Steve Biko, who was once also the president of the African National Congress, I believe. So now let's hear her.
This, as you know. And one thing I learned from Addis, I lived in Addis, as you know. And one thing I learned from Addis, maybe it's because they were never colonized, is that they believe in themselves. When they were building the Renaissance Dam that is now giving them the electricity, no investor came to invest.
Do not trust one.
If it was some of us, we would still be waiting for the investors. But they didn't wait. They said, okay, we'll go ahead. The government did not have all the money to build that dam. But what they did, the diaspora contributed, but the citizens, everyone who had an Ethiopian number, and I'm one of them, I had an Ethiopian number for 4.5 years when I was there. You received an SMS every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And when you respond to that SMS, you donate $1 to that dam. Right? The citizens built that dam. They donated every day. And the dam is done now. Because they believed in themselves. Their minds were decolonized. But many of us would still be waiting for the investors to come. We wouldn't be having the electricity they are having because we are still waiting for the investors. So let's not wait. Let's do what we can do for ourselves. Also, just to give another example, when there was Ebola in those 3 countries, when we had the UN, President Obama, in a side meeting, said there are 1.4 million Africans are going to die if nothing drastic is done. The world did nothing drastic. But as Africans, we decided we're going to do something for ourselves. We called for volunteers from different countries to go and work in those countries. And indeed, we got more than 800 volunteers from different countries who went to work there. And we got business, African business, to give us money so that we can look after those people whilst they are there. And not even 100,000 people died, let alone the 1.4 that was. Some people, international organizations promised us money, it's still coming. So, and I interviewed two of the young people who volunteered, because they all came via Addis. We trained them, and then they left. One was from Kenya, and I said, what motivated you to volunteer? And he said, no, I just thought, what if this was happening in Kenya? And people were asked to come and help us, and nobody came. So I decided, no, I must go. And another one said, no, we always talk about Pan-Africanism. I thought this was a way of showing it in practice, and that's why I'm here. So I'm saying, if we put our minds to it, we can do everything on our continent. As long as we include everybody. If we exclude women and youth, forget.
Yeah, so on that note, that was really interesting. I purposely left you to listen also the second example that she brought. But let me just go back and reflect on what she said, the Renaissance Dam. You know, for me, yes, I'm an Ethiopian, as you know. And I take a pride on that because it has really a great contribution for me to be a Pan-African. Being an Ethiopian has a lot of input to be a proud African. That's one thing. Second, on the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, it is really, yes, I'm proud as an Ethiopian that we built that dam by ourselves, that's the leaders mobilizing the people. But also as an African, I'm proud because we have such existing projects or achievements that we can show to our people, to the youth, to the next generation, that they can, we can do that. Because our ancestors have done this. Look at all the next African countries saying, look, Ethiopia has done it, South African can do it. Look, Ethiopia has done it, then Kenya can do it. Look, Ethiopia has done it, then there's no way that why Ghana cannot do it. That is a mentality it has created beyond its impact, of bringing or literally bringing light to Ethiopians' households, also politically, economically powering us, and politically also empowering not only Ethiopia, but also the region, because Ethiopia now exports electricity to the neighboring countries in a cheaper price, all right? Meaning some of them, they import energy and other than that, also in Africa, to say that you have financed, like originally it was a $5 billion project, but by the time it finished, it was more than 10 years. In 2011, it was 13 solid years it took us to build that. So to say that, to show without any loan, without any, without sacrificing or compromising any of your resources to these Western powers, you can do this. That to have such an example, yes, it has taken so much from us. Also, negotiating with talking with Egypt backstabbing us and taking us to everywhere, including the United Nations Security Council, as if this is some kind of a security threat. This is something that is built for development and to generate hydroelectric power. And we have passed that. We have paved the way for African countries to say there is this what Ethiopians have achieved, and we can do that as well. That is the biggest achievement for me. And leaders can mobilize their people. It's always the ability of Ethiopian leaders at different times, at different times and centuries. This is throughout the existence of this country. The ability of the leaders to mobilize their people is something that is underrated, underestimated. I was once invited to speak, on when it was like 95% finished, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. And one of the things really I stressed on that is we have to capitalize on the ability of our governments mobilizing people. That is something we can duplicate, triplicate to build other national projects, to build other flagship projects. This is something even we can sell to other African countries, that they can do it. Imagine each and everyone contribute. Some of us can contribute, a lot. Some of us just can contribute like $1. And it can do a lot. And the mentality, decolonizing the mind, that every time creating a generation or a young people, and to show them that African can develop themselves. They should not wait for investors or loan, because now the mentality there is like, there is no way that a country, an African country, can finance a $5 billion project. That is the mentality. If you go around on the street and ask the youth in Africa, that is what they will tell you, except Ethiopia. They will say, no, maybe IMF has to step in, World Bank has to tell. How come we have to ask this country, this and that? And every time that agreement happens, there is a compromising or compromisation that is done under the table. That's not something for public. Trust me, there is no free lunch. When for every dollar that they bring to your country, there is something taken 100 times away from your country. That is the reality, what your heads of states don't tell you. Thank God that ours didn't do it. And hopefully that we're gonna continue to build more flagship projects. The Prime Minister already have introduced that. That is beyond being proud, achieving and completing the dam as an Ethiopian, but I take a greater pride that this dam is there for Africans to look up to and say, we can do that. Yes, and let's leave it at that. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye. And thank you, Your Excellency, Mama Africa, Dr. Dlamini Zuma, for bringing that. You know what? Let me just get back. On when Ethiopian Telecom, actually, what she said at that time, I was working also at the African Union, and I know that Ethiopian Telecom also, different government institutions took part in contributing money for this dam. And one of the things where they send you this text like 4-digit 8100 or 8200, something like that. And when you return to that text, you are contributing already a $1 to that. So, and I was there. I was in the same room when that was launched, when Ethiopian Telecom brought that project and introducing it to the African Union. And I was in the same room with Her Excellency. And I remember she made a joke saying that, oh, like, you know, one can get maybe a network problem, this and that, but really sending a text back with that digit 8100 to contribute to the dam, the network always work. And, you know, she made everybody laugh, and the project of contributing through the Ethiopian Telecom was launched just like that. Anyway, again, it's a bye-bye. And thank you. Thank you for bringing that. And yes, we can do it.